I wanted to try something a little bit different today. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the top 5 best sword fighters specifically in Smash Ultimate in my own personal opinion. Now this is going to kind of go more into a singular class of fighter, and if you thought this video was a good idea or want me to do more in the future, tell me down in the comment section down below and what other class in the future you'd like to see, like Brawler, Zoner, or whatever. With all that in mind though guys, let's get going. I'm going to start off this list by talking about Ike, and I feel like Ike's a really weird character because he's always been pretty good in every single game. In Brawl, he was decent, and I played him a lot in that game. Smash 4, he was pretty good, kind of fell down the tier list a little bit as time went on, but not too much, and then in Ultimate, he started off super well, and then kind of fell down a little bit as well. Now, the thing about Ike is that it just feels like everybody's kind of figuring out how to play versus his very linear playstyle. He has great moves, he has great options, but he kind of has to do the same options and the same moves in the same way all the time. A lot of people are learning how to camp him out, and just kind of learning that if you wait for Ike to throw out an attack, and you wait to counterattack it, you can oftentimes just straight up beat it. Now, I'm going to say right here, Ike does have some problems that are showing as time goes on, but that doesn't mean that he is bad, and that is 100% not a thing about Ike. Ike still has giant hitboxes, godlike kill confirms off his nair, probably the best arrow in the whole game, maybe in my opinion, really good throw combos, and of course he kills super duper early if you get a really big read. Also as well, he has a decent recovery. He's a sword fighter that's just kind of good at everything, has a lot of range, a lot of damage, is pretty heavy, but I feel like the problem about this character is that there isn't way too much room for improvement. When you look at the other sword fighters, I feel like there is more optimization, there's more potential things you could do, his playstyle could possibly change, but with Ike, I don't really see that happening. I don't see the character becoming much worse, as I feel like, the character that is better than, he definitely is better than, but as well, I don't see him becoming much better because it's kind of hard to outplay other people when you're playing Ike. Either you're going to beat people or you aren't, and I don't really feel like there's way too much room for improvement. Overall, he's quite good, but kind of falling down a little bit. Secondly, I'm putting Mii Swordfighter on this list, and I'm sure a lot of you guys could probably put Ike above Mii Swordfighter. It kind of depends on who you are and what you're thinking, but I feel like in the long term, Mii Swordfighter is probably going to end up a little bit higher than Ike, maybe. Or you can kind of put them at around the same place. Now, the thing that I think just kind of gives Mii Swordfighter a lot more potential with this character, and a lot more, actual ability to grow as a character, is that there's just a lot of options that Mii Swordfighter has and a ton of useful utility that the other sword fighters don't. And it actually gives you kind of a reason to pick this up other than just being, a pretty good normal sword fighter. Well, of course, there are, in general, a good normal sword fighter with good normal sword fighter aerials and good normal sword fighter tilts, because it is a sword fighter, that's in the name. As well, there's good throw combos, good kill confirms, and really interesting specials. And I think this is really the most important part about this character. They have a lot of specials that can kind of spam projectiles, a lot of specials that can potentially go in, a counter special or a flex special, and it's really the only sword fighter that can both spam out his opponent and as well counteract spam, which is the thing that a lot of other sword fighters just kind of lose against. Especially Ike, he really has some trouble against certain spamming matchups, but sword fighter doesn't really do that at all. Now, of course, we have to mention, of course, the Mii sword fighter, neutral B tornado into up B combo, obviously a pretty broken thing. But that isn't really even what makes this character so great right now, because it's just a character with a solid neutral, a character with a lot of good kill confirms, a character with a lot of decent combos, and while they are a bit slow, I feel like their aerials are just good enough to make good exchanges, their general moves are just good enough to make good exchanges, and they do have all those special moves to kind of grow as time goes on. Overall, I feel like it's a character that maybe I'm overhyping up a little bit too much, maybe actually isn't that great, but I feel like there is a lot of stuff that they can do if we just got more players going for this one. So for a long time, we had people arguing if Chrom was better or if Roar was better, and it seemed like at the very beginning, for the first few months, Chrom, obviously the better pick, and then later on, okay, Roy, now obviously the better pick, and at this point, it's kind of hard to tell. Now, I'm personally going to give the edge to Roar right now, but they are kind of similar, and they are Echo Fighters, and they do play very similarly, so yeah, do keep in mind they're kind of in the same light. Now, I feel like the thing about these characters that is just so dumb is that while they both have a pretty bad recovery, and especially Chrom, it's an awful recovery, and while they both are quite bad when they're getting hit and really can't get out of combos that well and are fast follows that get kind of destroyed, while they do have a lot of bad stuff about them, as well, they are both extremely fast, extremely combo based, much more than any other sword fighter character, fast followers, and murder machines. These guys kill so early with just about every single attack, and especially somebody like Roy, while you can sometimes get, a lot of sour spots, and it can be kind of hard to kill at times, which does make him a double-edged sword. If you get like a 4 tilt at 110 near the edge, they're dead. If you get an F smash at like 60 near the middle of the stage, they're dead, which you can also combo into off of an air. If you get like a jab back air at like 70-80%, they're dead. If you get a side B at like 60% sometimes against certain characters and you have rage, bye-bye. These characters just are so ridiculous at times. And I feel like they definitely are not very safe picks. If you go for one of these characters, there's a lot of chances where you're just going to lose versus a worse player because, you know, they gimp you really early as Crom, or you aren't getting any sweet spots as Roy, and it's just super annoying. But when you look at all their benefits, in addition to the fact that their frame data is stupid fast, and as well as stupid hard to play against on shield, it makes so that, you know, if they weren't quite as risky, they'd probably be the most broken sword fighter in the game. Right now, though, yeah, they do have that risk, and no one's really been able to mitigate it 100%. In general, I'm going to say for myself, they are the most fun sword fighter, but probably not quite the best. Okay, so with Shulk, this is going to be kind of dumb because this is the meme. He is the character with infinite potential. Ever since Smash 4, he's been the character that if you can master, if you can get all his tech down, you will be the best character in the entire game. And I feel like in this game, that actually could potentially happen. He has the ability to change playstyles with his speed, with his jump, with all of that. He has the ability to break out of a lot of combos with his different attributes. But, of course, as it should be said, these are all extremely hard to master, if not impossible to master in actual games. And that's kind of where Shulk is right now. While Shulk isn't nearly as, you know, on baseline, bad as he was in Smash 4, and while he actually is probably a top tier or even a high tier at minimum, you know, just without even using a lot of your other moves, without using a lot of your arts, the problem about him is that his arts do give him an upper hand, but they're very hard to utilize. He has, of course, that speed when he needs it. He has, of course, that jump height when he needs it. He has the tankiness to get out of combos when he needs it. He has the damage, he has the kill power, but you have to use them, and you have to use them correctly to really get everything out of Shulk. If you don't use these all perfectly, well, he's still a good character, but then a lot of his weaknesses start to show. He starts to become a little bit too slow. He starts to become someone that can't really get quite as many combos as he needs to, doesn't do quite as much damage as he needs to. If you can pull off everything together perfectly, he's a great character. If you can't, he's pretty good. He still has giant hitboxes, but it just feels like he's kind of missing something. And I feel like that's the thing about Shulk that's going to happen until we finally get that one player that is just a godlike Shulk that can pull everything off. Until then, he's pretty good. He has the giant hitboxes, he has decent kill power, he's pretty hard to play against as a lot of characters, and while he does have a very, very slow startup compared to most characters in this game, it's not unbearable as it was in Smash 4. Overall, he's the character that I am the most hyped for, that I really hope that somebody can master because I feel like this guy could just skyrocket once that happens. But for now, I think he's just very good, but has a ton of potential. So the final character I'm going to talk about is the one that I talk about all the time, that being Lucena. Now, if you're a Lucena main right here, you're probably saying to yourself, well, yeah, duh, she's broken, she is this, she is that. I love this character. And if you're someone else that plays against a lot of Lucenas, you're probably like, huh, yeah, I hate this character. She's too broken, easy. But I feel like I'm kind of in the middle, where I really do appreciate kind of the spot that Lucena fits, but I do also kind of wish that Marth was a little bit better so that there'd actually be a big reason to pick him up. Now, the thing about Lucena that makes her so good, and in my opinion the best sword fighter, is the fact that she is very balanced, and she has just about, you know, everything that a sword fighter needs. She has good aerials that are safe, good kill moves, and fast kill moves, powerful specials that also have a lot of different things they can do, a great recovery, a great juggle game, decent throw combos, and even a kill throw. While she doesn't have necessarily the best of anything, in a lot of situations there are other sword fighters with slightly versions of, you know, different parts of her kit, she has the best compound of everything put together. And I think she just kind of works out the best in actual games. She doesn't really need to play 100% perfectly like Shulk does to get a lot of her stuff out. She doesn't really have to be as scared of, you know, messing up and dying instantly as a Roy. She can just kind of work decently. And I feel like that kind of leads to something that's really important, and that's that she doesn't really have any huge counters that beat her. While a lot of these other characters have people that can maybe rush them down super hard that beat them, or maybe people that can outcap them, Lucena's fast enough and overall has good enough frame data where she can kind of play okay versus anybody. And while she does have some hard matchups that could potentially be losing, compared to everyone else, I don't really think those are nearly as bad. Now, on paper, I still feel like Marth is potentially better if played 100% perfectly. Now, in actual gameplay, that's probably never going to happen in Smash Ultimate unless there's some buffs or nerfs that go around. So, of course, in actual gameplay, Lucena is better, but there is some hope if you're a person that likes to play Marth. Overall, a great character, pretty fun to see, and right now a lot of people are playing her, so, you know, you can join the fun. There is a lot of different gameplay examples of this character, and while maybe she's kind of falling a little bit on the tier list as people are starting to drop her a tiny bit, I don't really think that's going to happen way too much. I think she does have a lot of potential from here, and if you can space perfectly, she's just godlike, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So with all that in mind, those are my top 5 best sword fighters in Smash Ultimate in my opinion. But I'd really like to hear your own opinion down in the comment section down below, and maybe tell me why you think a certain character is a certain way, or who you think I missed. As well with that, tell me down below what characters you want me to talk about next time. Again, you know, fighters, brawlers, heavyweights, whatever. I'm probably not thinking a lot of different people, so if you can make like a list of different people you'd like me to talk about, or different types of characters, that would be pretty cool. Maybe even like the top 5 Pokemon. I don't know if you'd like to see that. I don't know. Anyways, as always, guys, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to see more like this. Top of screen now is a card for a playlist with more Smash Ultimate videos like this. As always, guys, thank you all for watching and have a smashing day.